Hello, Fayetteville. This is Sergeant Antoine Kincaid with the Fayetteville Police Department's Public Information Office, and welcome to FayPD Beat, Episode 4. So today we have with us, as always, our Major Stripe, the Chief of Staff with the Fayetteville Police Department. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir, and hello, Fayetteville.
We also have some very special guests. We have Lieutenant Kiger with the Fayetteville Police Department's Traffic Unit. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
And we also have Specialist Deal assigned to the Fayetteville Police Traffic Investigations Team. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Thank you both for joining us.
Sir, thank you for having us.
Thank you, and thank you for taking your time out to be with us. When we start talking about summer safety, we're also talking about more people on the road and traffic being increased. So, Specialist Deal, what is it that you do as far as a traffic investigator with the Fayetteville Police Department? What's that function look like?
So for me, I'm a crash reconstructionist. So most of the time when I'm called to a scene, it's going to be in regards to a bad traffic crash, either that results in serious injury, possible fatality. When we don't have cases, our next priority is enforcing street takeovers, ATV dirt bikes, careless and reckless driving, things that we could do to prevent the next bad crash or traffic fatality.
And I'll say one of the things we did a few years ago here at the Fayetteville Police Department is we kind of divided, not separated, but kind of divided the traffic unit into an enforcement section and into an investigative section. So the enforcement section is out there regularly doing general day-to-day enforcement, while the investigative section is obviously investigating those fatalities, serious injury crashes, and the investigations on illegal ATV use, car club, the ones doing careless and reckless donuts and the intersections and things like that. And I'm sure Lieutenant Kiger would love to talk more about that.
So yes, and you're exactly right. We saw the difference in mission and taskings for the traffic support unit. Historically, it's just been one single unit where those tasks were divided up amongst the officers assigned to that unit. What we found is there's two distinct different mindsets in the investigative techniques used in those non-traditional means to identify these drivers conducting these street takeovers, the reckless driving activity, something we saw starting in 2022, and obviously with some laws changing, given the authority to seize vehicles for felony flee to elude. Through those concentrated efforts through both the investigative side and the enforcement side and those targeted enforcement campaigns that we've ran. Everybody knows the maroon charger in Fayetteville is Sergeant Donegan with the traffic unit. He is infamous. And again, if you see one of the department motorcycles, that's the enforcement unit guys. I have Officer Eric Hurley, who is one of our motor instructors in-house. So they are very talented in the enforcement role, but there's only so much they can do. And so we're not going to necessarily chase you the day of your violation, but we're going to identify you. We're going to identify the violations of state law that you've conducted, and then we're going to hold you accountable. And part of that is seizing vehicles. In 2022, we seized an estimated $500,000 worth of cars. So people that were not stopping for law enforcement began stopping and receiving their citation and having their day in court because it was cheaper to address that citation and talk to the judge than it was to try to get their car back.
Sure, that's a much better option.
Oh, yes. So as we separated those two entities in 2024, and it's been very productive. And so each recon detective actually has that secondary assignment. One specializes in the dirt bikes, ATVs. One is beginning to focus on simply motorcycles and reckless behavior of motorcycles throughout the city. And then one of them is historically the car club guy, and that would be Detective Specialist Dill.
And I'll say, and that kind of leads us to where just because you don't see us pull somebody over today, or if you're that one who needs to be pulled over but you're not stopped today, is where the traffic investigators and Specialist Investigator Dill will come into play. So what does that look like on your end, Specialist?
So whether it's a patrol officer on the road or it's someone in the traffic unit themselves that attempts to stop a vehicle for careless and reckless driving, flees police, we have different avenues that we can use, that we've used to investigate these crimes. Even though it's a traffic offense, it's still a crime. Like I said, we have different avenues that we can investigate, cameras across the city, different programs.
Well, and we obviously we're not going to release every investigative detail, but you do talk to our public safety camera network. You talk to our license plate reader program, which is no secret that we have, and we don't want it to be a secret. But with that license plate reader program, we have obviously seen people start to conceal license plates, whether it's on their vehicle or their motorcycle or things like that. And again, that's why we don't use just one thing. It's not one piece of technology or one piece of knowledge. It's everything.
Right, absolutely, and especially like you said, hiding the license plates or just removing them in general. We run into that a lot with the motorcycles, whether they have them tucked up behind the wheel or they just don't even display them on the motorcycles. And like Lieutenant Kiger stated earlier, soon we'll have one of our reconstructionists specialize in just that alone. And starting to identify these motorcycles, even that we see on a regular basis, that are not necessarily breaking the law, but still having the tag or the license plate hidden. That way we can go ahead and start documenting and getting a file on them. So just in case they do decide to run one day, we're able to identify them based off of marks, colors, apparel of the driver, everything like that.
And what this really comes down to is traffic safety, right? Somebody concealing their license plate is not doing it just to travel from point A to point B. They have a license plate concealed because they know they're going to be doing something that is borderline illegal or generally illegal, straight out illegal. And we have seen over the years a number of traffic fatalities from not just motor vehicles themselves, but involving pedestrians and involving motorcycles. And a lot of it comes down to just the public being aware of what's going on, operating your vehicle as it is designed to be operated, not doing wheelies on Skybow Road or not doing donuts at Cliffdale and Skybow in the middle of the intersection at a 5 o'clock on a Friday or other things like that.
So how about social media as far as like when people give you tips and call into Crime Stoppers? Does that help you guys at all?
It does. So when we gather this information, we treat it as a tip basically, and we look into it and we try to prove whether to see if this subject that they are giving the tip to has engaged in this criminal activity, stuff that we're able to follow up on. The tips really just help us, like I said, follow up on these incidents and attempt to identify the drivers and or the vehicle that they're operating.
And just for our listening audience, Crime Stoppers, you can reach them several different ways through the website, through P3 Tips. Also call 910-483-8477 or 910-483-TIPS. You can also submit those pictures, videos to the website so we can get them to investigators. Lieutenant Kiger, as far as those, following up with these crimes, how do you guys proceed to do that?
Yeah, as tips come in through either Crime Stoppers or other means, we do receive some from just the department's website, things of that nature through internal affairs. We take a look at and see if there's any, in-car video camera footage from any patrol officers in the area. Obviously, with that advanced license plate reader system built into the in-car cameras, it's very valuable. It's been very successful. One of the other things, that Chief Brown has been very big on since he took control of the PD last year is utilizing technology or leveraging technology. And so one of the things to kind of streamline that reporting process is going to be an upcoming, hopefully soon, the reckless driving application that users will be able to download it within the city and kind of report in real time that reckless driving behavior.
So that information would go where, sir?
So it's going to go initially, we believe, to the CIC, our Crime Information System, our Crime Information Center, and then be kind of vetted through those crime analysts and then forwarded to either the traffic unit, patrol, and there'll be safeguards built in. So if someone is attempting to report something that is deemed an emergency, such as an impaired driver, that it will refer that person reporting that directly to 911.
Definitely more to come on that, and I think we are making progress where it will be soon. But one of the main things we thought about with is we don't want to create additional distractions while somebody may be driving. So without giving everything away and letting Chief Brian debut it officially when the time comes, it does have built in some voice recognition, so you can almost talk to it like Alexa or Siri or Google, and it will actually start that process for you hands-free as long as you have that displayed on your windshield somewhere where it can open your camera app.
So I know we've discussed the car takeovers and we've discussed the ATVs, school zones, as we were talking earlier at the top of the show, as far as school zone safety. We have some year-round schools. We have 3 year-round schools. Explain to us, either one of you, the importance of traveling safely through school zones.
Yeah, so obviously with recent events and things of that nature, obviously we inherited the schools from Cumberland County 2 years ago, and standing up both an SRO program, standing up a traffic control officer program for the crossing guards. That's obviously was a monumental task when we stood that up, and we've learned a lot about the nature of some school zones, and obviously with laws being passed last year with the authorization of speed cameras to be utilized in school zones. That's going to be a very good program, I believe. And as we work through the administrative code that needs to be placed or put in place prior to the city of Fayetteville entering into a contract with a vendor, I'm currently in the process of setting in meetings and state commission to try to hash out what the best practices are going to be for that kind of program. Realistically, it'll be January before those administrative codes are put in place. That will allow us to potentially put a speed camera in every school zone. So, but yes, for the average speed reduction in the school zone is 10 miles an hour. So if the speed limit on that road is 35, for the school zone hours, it's 25. There are a few exceptions to that if we can show a need, and obviously we have a few school zones in the city that have a more than 10-mile reduction because we can show the need for it.
And I think it's also important that we also pay attention to our traffic control officers that we have hired out there. Explain a little bit about that program as far as, we're always hiring for the traffic control officers. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it's a part-time position. It is generally fulfilled by either retirees for something to do. It's up to 4 hours each day, 5 days a week, and we will give them basically on-the-job training, go through the proper way to enter and exit the roadway to facilitate the crossing of students or the exiting of buses or private conveyances for picking up kids.
So we're saying that's part-time. How much does a job like that pay?
I believe it's $20 an hour.
So once again, just to recap, especially in these school zones, especially we have the 3 school zones, especially during the summer months, even though the traditional calendar schools are out of session. But we do have those year-round schools, Ann Chestnut, E.E. Miller, Reed Ross Classical. We definitely want to urge the motoring public to be safe through those areas, to maintain safe travels, maintain safe distance, also maintain safe speed while we're going through those areas. Lieutenant Kiger or Specialist Dill, do you have anything further that you would like to discuss?
No, sir. Not on my end here.
No, I think we covered it.
Greatly appreciate you for being here once again. Like I said, I know it's taking time out of your busy days and your busy schedules, but like I said, we want to discuss the importance. I think you hit the nail on the head as far as being able to, now we're seizing folks' cars that are creating some of these takeovers, and they're causing these nuisance, and some of them are causing extreme property damage with doing donuts in the cities and streets of Fayetteville. So I just want to thank you guys again for coming out. I would like to thank the listening public for listening to us once again. The Fayetteville PD Beat is just one of several podcasts the city produces for the Radio Fayetteville podcast channel. Be sure to subscribe to hear all of our podcasts and get notified when a new one drops. Radio Fayetteville is available on your favorite streaming platforms. I'm Sergeant Antoine Kincaid with the Fayetteville Public Information Office, and until next time, stay safe.
Hello, I'm Eric Hurley with Fayetteville Police Department Traffic Unit. We don't write tickets to raise money. We write tickets to change behavior. Speed was the primary factor in more than 60% of the 28 fatal crashes we investigated last year. Every stop we make might be the one that prevents the next death. I'd rather give you a citation than tell your loved one you're never coming home.
I'm Detective Deal with the Fayetteville Police Department's Traffic Unit. As a crash reconstructionist, I don't guess what happened, I prove it. We measure, photograph, and digitally rebuild each fatal scene millisecond by millisecond. Speed is the most common factor we find in deadly crashes. I've seen cars split in half just because someone was in a hurry. These aren't freak accidents, they're choices, and every choice has a consequence.
If you see blue lights in 2026, expect a citation.
If we see this scene again, someone didn't listen. Your speed, your choice, your consequence.
Speed kills, respect the limit.